Welcome to You're Making It Worse. I'm Elliot Glazer.
I'm Brent Sullivan.
And I'm H. Alan Scott.
We're here. We're queer.
Meh. Textual healing.
Okay. I am, just to remind everyone, I'm a little under the weather still. I am still sick from last week. And so I also took NyQuil about an hour ago, so I'm starting to get a little high.
So
I'm starting to feel it.
If you ever wanted to watch an episode of this podcast, this would be the one to watch.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Brent might be topless by the end of this.
Well, we know that ain't going to happen, but
you can go watch it on YouTube, y'all.
We're
publishing on YouTube.
Very free-flowing and carefree with what I say. That said, let's have a conversation.
Said like Diane Rehm.
Yeah,
That said, let's have a conversation.
Diane Rehm, quite frankly, is a national treasure. I think you know that. So, U.S. Senator, one of my favorites, John Fetterman, a Pennsylvania Democrat, has criticized a school district in the state of Pennsylvania, for canceling an event because the speaker is a gay man. Sorry, yes, his state. Yeah. The Cumberland Valley School District canceled an anti-bullying talk by gay actor and author Maulik Pancholy, best known for his work as Alec Baldwin's assistant on 30 Rock. Fetterman doesn't really play intricately in this story, but he just basically called attention to the problem and said their decision was deeply wrong. So here's what happened. Pancholy was going to come give a speech at a middle school about his experiences with bullying and the importance of empathy. But the school board canceled the event, citing the actor's LGBTQIAU advocacy. Tricia Comstock, who has 2 sons in the district, initiated an online petition to reinstate Pancholy's talk, and her petition gathered 1,000 signatures, according to the New York Times. However, a member of the school board is also a participant of the local chapter of the right-wing group Moms for Liberty. And this particular school board member said, quote, "Again, it's not discriminating against his lifestyle. That's his choice. But it's him speaking about it," this woman said. He did say that that's not the topic, but that's what his books are about. So Pancholy released a statement saying his heart goes out to the entire middle school community and shared his struggles finding representation while growing up. So this was as always, a fun story out of rural Pennsylvania.
Rip-roaring fun.
It's very funny just because Maulik Pancholy is, I think Pancholy. I think it's Pancholy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
I can't wait to get the message from someone this week. How dare you mispronounce? But anyway, go ahead.
But he plays Jonathan on the show quite memorably, by the way. Like, I mean, he was great. Like canon. Yeah, he's phenomenal. Yeah. But he's an anti-bullying advocate and a children's book author. Yeah. He is like, the idea of people getting scared or freaked out by the idea of him speaking to children about anti-bullying is already so wild. Yeah. But on top of it, the irony of a group called Moms for Liberty. It's always about liberty or freedom or patriotism. Yeah. And they're the ones who want to do exactly the opposite. And
we've talked about them a lot.
Yeah.
Right? There was one recently, I forget the exact topic, but there was a great moment on 60 Minutes where they were talking about, I forget even the issue, but the journalist was doing amazing work holding them to account to then say, to have them say what they're really trying to say, but they refuse to get to move beyond their talking points. They just stuck to their talking points. And what's wild about even this is that, like, the speech wasn't even had nothing to do with being queer or inclusive in any sort of way, even though that's probably a good.
She said that it's not doesn't have anything. She just said it's not about
his choice of lifestyle.
That's his choice. By the way, it's not his choice. Like, he's not choosing to be gay. He's choosing to be an anti-bullying advocate. That's what he's choosing.
Yeah. But even then, beyond the whole bullying, anything to do with LGBT, it's just about having empathy for others,
Of course.
having empathy, so that, which is a great way to stop people from bullying. And it's wild to me that, like, I mean, if they didn't want just him to speak, bring someone else in, bring someone from Moms from Liberty in to talk about anti-bullying and empathy. Like that, fine, do that. Like, I mean, I don't think that would be a great speech, because they would only stick to their talking points and everyone would be very confused when they ask questions.
Do you think Moms for Liberty are pro-bullying?
Well, no, but yes.
No, but
I mean, of course, not on paper. They aren't, of course, especially when it comes to. I mean, they would probably argue that Christianity is being bullied all the time. I think that would probably be their argument. But I think I would be curious if you sat down a Mom for Liberty parent and said, "Is it okay to bully a gay kid?" I wonder what.
I think they would say
off the record. She would say no.
Oh, off the record?
Yeah.
I think off the record they would also say no, because it's the same thing with. So, I mean, it's the same thing with so many people who use sort of religion as a mask to say horrible things about people, in that it's they don't see what necessarily they're doing as bullying, even though for the vast majority of people, rational people, it would be seen as bullying, because to them, they see it as a righteous crusade, to save the children. When I always love telling people, the kids are all right. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, right.
They're actually going to be fine. No one is out to get them. They're fine. And it's so I don't think they see themselves as being bullies. They just see themselves as doing something for the children, because I feel like, and this is something that I'm not a parent, so I can't speak to it, but I feel like sometimes when some people become parents, they become crazy people.
Yeah.
They become completely detached from a reality outside of parenting, so much so that they can't be rational in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? It just becomes this sort of train of thought of like, protect the kids, and sure, protect the kids, but also maybe don't overprotect them.
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
What were you going to say, Elliot?
I think I was going to say that it's not new, but the ultimate irony is that it's like, y'all are bullying. Y'all are the ones who are like focusing your energy on something completely unnecessary in some sort of, pantomime excuse to quote unquote protect the children. And it's such horseshit and it's such nonsense, and they know what they're doing. When their spokesperson said what she said about it not being about his chosen lifestyle,
it's all intentional.
It's all intentional. It's all. I mean, gaslighting is also another term that I think has sort of lost its vigor by now. But that is its own version of gaslighting. Just pointing a finger, but not necessarily looking at him and saying, "Well, because he's gay." It's like.
Well, I also, it would be interesting to know, like, what is this district? Is this a district where a certain vote is needed for a certain thing at some point? Like I often say, a lot of times in these uproars over, a queer person speaking or a drag queen reading a story or whatever it is, it rarely is about the thing that they're most angry about. It's often about the thing that they need to happen after that thing happens, meaning that an election or something, they need to vote in a particular way, so they need to be angry enough to vote for the people they want this group to vote for.
Sure.
And I often tell people, just look to what's going on after all of this, and that'll tell you why they're angry right now.
Sure. Okay.
There you go.
Bye.
Start Googling.
My hand has a lag because I'm high on NyQuil.
Not even joking.
We are joined today by writer, fantastic person, personality, giving us everything, Rheeqrheeq Chainey. Hello, Rheeqrheeq.
Hey.
Hi. I think everyone should get introduced once a day, just for.
Correction. Should be introduced by a homosexual.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really feel the same at REL.
The lady at the Olive Garden calling your table is not going to give you what I gave you.
That is very true.
But by that point, Gladys and I are kind of in it, so I probably deserve what I got.
That's true. It's always Gladys, and she always tells you to get the breadsticks.
Do you guys know a single person actually named Gladys besides Knight?
No, it's a Knight situation.
No, I don't.
I've never met a Gladys. I only know of Gladys Knight, and then there was a sitcom character named Gladys, but that's it.
No, because her name is Giada, so that's not Gladys. Yeah, I think we're just.
No.
I think there are names that come in and out, and I'm sure there's some little girl who's really like trying to figure out her place in like Roosevelt Middle School.
Named Gladys. There's some little girl born in 2020 who someone named her Gladys, and she right now is getting into the sort of like pre-kindergarten stage, being like, "Wow, I am fucked."
Yeah, I'm into it.
I mean, we live in LA, so there's a lot of folk doing things to the next generation.
That's very true. That's very true.
Love and light, but
love and light.
Well, I mean, Riri, speaking of names, you must get a lot of pronunciations of your name in all of the ways possible. What is perhaps the most interesting pronunciation of your name that you've received?
Rheeqrheeq was one because it was with confidence. Like that's
arrogance, even. Yeah,
like for years, I went to the same school from 6 to 18. So like anytime we had substitute teachers, it'd be like Lizzie Brooks here, and then you could hear the pause. And so it got to the point where my friends wouldn't even they would do it for me. It's like, her name is Riri. So, I didn't have to handle that. And then I give fake names at Starbucks and places. I just can't. There's too much in the world. There's too much.
I do that too. I don't give fake names at Starbucks, but I don't give the full name because a lot of times they don't get H. Allen.
Yeah.
Too many syllables. If you give them more than one syllable, sometimes it really throws their mind. So I just say the Scott. I just say the Scott.
Yeah.
It's Scott.
I'll say Eli and just to be safe.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Whoa. No, this is not your pony. This is your circus.
No, I know.
Your name exists in the world.
I know.
Yeah. Riri wins this one. Let's be real. Riri wins this one.
It is for better or for worse, the only one on Google.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's true. A very, some things in there aren't great. Some comments in there aren't great.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool in a world of everyone's trying to have a brand. And I've had one the whole time.
You have your brand. Well, so you are a fantastic Emmy award-winning writer. Where do you keep your Emmy for the baby? It's for the Babysitters Club, right?
Club, yeah. Oh, that's a very random night in my life. Yeah, it's over in the corner with a picture of my mother and a picture of Beyonce.
Wow. I mean, the Beyonce's more important than the Emmy, right? I think so.
I mean, I definitely snuck good ink from work to print out a picture of Beyonce in front of the Prada Martha.
Good ink.
Okay.
I was really trying to what's my art brand in my house? It's a billionaire jumping in the desert.
I'm always amazed at what people do with their Emmys in their homes because ever since I saw, and everything I do always goes back to Rosie O'Donnell, but ever since I saw Rose, she let her children paint her Emmys, all of her Emmys. She has,
oh my God,
she has so many Emmys that she was just random children painted them colors, and now she has her Emmys all painted. So I wonder, would you ever paint your Emmy?
No, I have a black household. That's not going to happen in my house. But I mean, I do. There is something of if you are that full of accolade, why at a certain point you holding it tightly doesn't make sense. I think treating it with respect and humility, but also it's really heavy and it's pointy. I mean, it's a very pointy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
could be used as a weapon.
At her kids, it's. I should probably put it as a doorstop in case someone tries to get into the canyon. But I don't know. It's nice. It's next to my thermostat. So I only see it every so often, and I'm like. Oh.
And for what show were you awarded that Emmy?
I got it part of the writing staff for Babysitters Club. It was really cool because it was the new Children Family Awards. It was JoJo Siwa before she rebranded. Hosted.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, and I did it, and I didn't know that we didn't think we were going to win. and I had a sprained ankle. I had dinner plans. I was coming for a moment, and I was still in my coat when we won. And I go upstage at stage limping, just like yelling things for my friend Rachel. I was like, "Thank your kid, thank your," and I walk off stage, and Joe was like, "My mom loves the show," and I'm like, good luck on the whole dancing gay thing.
Dancing gay. That's incredible.
I was like,
dancing
that's
gay.
The only auntie older queer thing I could say was like, keep it going, I guess. And then,
keep those steps moving.
Yeah,
keep doing it.
What do you think of JoJo's new queer moment in Karma?
I think that every queer person gets to be annoyed.
Oh wow! That's a
fair point. That's a fair point.
I mean, it gets to be annoying.
You get your moment, and like everyone, like if you are lucky and blessed, you get to be 19 and annoying, and you move through it.
And rich.
She drives around.
I will yell at you at Akbar, but if you do, love and light.
She drives around the city of Los Angeles. I've seen this car in a Tesla, fully covered in her face.
No.
Oh, wow. Really?
I have,
like fully. It's like just hundreds of her face all over the Tesla. And it's I saw it once in of all places, Glendale, which feels offensive. and I was like, I was on like Brand, like not even the sexy street, and it was so wild to see. I don't know what street would be. I think probably Rick Caruso Way is the sexy street in Glendale. But
if she had an
always and forever. But it was surprising. I mean the gall of to be able to put. I mean, I guess so. Good for her. I guess that's the peak annoying.
I can't say anything. I haven't been on. Haven't had to deal with Abby Lee. So like, you don't like. We don't know where. Be yourself. If yourself is your car having your face on it, I don't think that's the person that I would be in their car. That doesn't. It doesn't give me safety in a Starbucks parking lot. But I do feel like.
But you're giving fake names in the Starbucks, so you're fine. Like you could be anybody. You could be anybody you want to be.
Yeah, I really do blend in. So.
Well, you also are a writer on fantastic shows like Killing It in Florida Man. Just both set in Florida, right? Do you have a thing with Florida?
No, and I really and respect to those who are waiting for the state to fall off. I don't have a lot of like experience in Florida. But I do have experience with crazy people. So I guess that's what happened.
There is something that come out of Florida. I mean, there's a lot of right material for Florida. You know what I mean?
Alan and Elliot are both very pro Florida. I'll just warn you.
And they're very different Floridas. There's so many types of that's like my grandmother lives in Orlando, so I had the normal like go down. Was like 9 years old posing at the Tree of Life at the Animal Kingdom, like just like this. Like I don't know what I was trying to serve, but it was fun.
You were Hakuna Matata.
I was like, let's go. Nala ain't got nothing on you. But respect to Beyonce's Nala. But like it's its own ecosystem of 1,000 ecosystems. And I think that is the fascinating thing. Like there's no like Florida Man, the show was, sort of not based, but we had a running theme of those Florida Man stories. Florida Man wakes up in the middle of a church's chicken with an alligator, like those sort of things. And it's like, there's never a story out of Florida that I am surprised by.
Yeah. And isn't there a specific reason that those Florida stories happen so often? Brent, was that you know that? Did you say so?
It's me. I told Alan. They have next day release of police information. So they have a 20, like literally press can get anything of arrests of any footage of anything really, really quickly. So you go down there and you watch the local news and it is just like immediate. Like this person was arrested 20 minutes ago and we got the video. Like
there's also something about being hot that doesn't lend itself to sanity.
That's true.
It's it's the opening of oh my God, Spike Lee, the riots.
Do the right thing.
do the right thing. It's, you know, how many movies do we start? It's a hazy day. And this slutty lady in a crop top is about to do a murder. Like, it's something about that.
It feels right. It feels right.
It feels correct.
Yeah.
And so you add that and the fact that the Everglades are filled with actual dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Pythons and the crocodiles. And it's not somewhere that most people should live, but people thrive, or they, you know, thrive.
Was it exciting to have your grandma be in Orlando growing up and knowing that Disney World was at just out of arm's reach?
At the ready.
I don't know. Elliot's seen me out in the world. I do get nonplussed easily. So there is something to it having been so accessible when I was little that I kind of wish wasn't that. Like, I kind of wish it was more special, because it is like the beauty of capitalism, you know? Like, it's just something amazing. My favorite part about it, though, was my mom would get me the turkey leg and then take it back with us and then make me little sandwiches.
Oh, she would make sandwiches out of it.
Yeah.
Were you, when you were a child? So this, now I had a different experience in that, like, I would go to Orlando as a treat, because we didn't have any family down there or anything. So it was always very special.
Oh, expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive, but it also was very special. But the turkey legs, the thing with the turkey leg that terrifies me is that I didn't understand the process of like smoked meat. So like turkeys to me were always like either white or dark meat. Like that's what existed. And then you eat that turkey leg in Disneyland and all of a sudden it's pink and you feel like something is different in the, like, it's like a whole new discovery of the world. Like, what are you eating?
What do you mean? Isn't it just dark meat?
No,
it's pink.
Because it's smoked. It's pink. Yeah. And you feel crazy the first time.
Yes. Yes, and as a child, it really scared me. I was terrified of it.
It's giving like the dinner in Hook, when like all the foods were the wrong color. Like you need to have that dinner. Like
the fact that you just had a 1991 Hook reference starring Julia Roberts and Robin Williams actually blows me away and makes me love you.
You thought this was an uncultured home?
I'm just saying, not many people drop a Hook reference and that wig that Julia Roberts wore in both that and Sleeping with the Enemy, or that one where she died of cancer. I forget, but yes.
Sleeping with the Enemy, yeah, that one's tough. The Hook, the Gwyneth Paltrow cameo, Maggie Smith really giving, but also like Maggie Smith being that age for 40 years.
Ever? Yeah, literally since the 1970s. Yes.
She has been Miss Brodying with some age makeup for 30 years.
Isn't there a weird cameo in there? Is Glenn Close in there as a guy? Did I make that up?
Yeah, Glenn Close is a pirate.
Yeah, she's a pirate.
Like in disguise?
And the only reason...
In disguise. Like we only know that because we've read the Wikipedia article. Like it's not...
Yeah.
I have to
BuzzFeed told us. BuzzFeed told us.
I have to put this out there. Like, I love her, but what's her deal? Like, what is her deal?
I don't think many people know.
I like, she's so weird.
See, Elliot. I understand that your brain needs to have listicles explain to you why this person exists in the world. Well, however, Glenn Close doesn't need to fit into any box or listicle. She is just weird in her own little existence and needs no explanation. If she wants to show up in a Venture One commercial starring Tina Fey, let her do that. You know what I mean? Like,
I just saw The Big Chill recently for the first time.
Oh, great film. It
was incredible. Like,
it's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh my God, incredible. But even
have you seen Fatal Attraction? No. If you haven't seen Fatal Attraction, you need to watch that and then Baby Reindeer and see two of the best crazy performances on film ever in the history of film.
I have to ask though. I know in Fatal Attraction she plays like a sexy stalker,
with a perm. Yes,
right, with a perm. Yes. And in The Big Chill, she's sort of like kind of like always crying and very melodramatic. And she's Albert Nobbs. She's in Hook. She's in commercials. I have the picture of her eating a mouthful of baby carrots on some show. That lives rent free in my head. And I can't my brain has trouble really making sense and quantifying what her deal is.
Well, she's just
I can
weird.
help you with that. Glenn Close was in a cult growing up.
Oh, what kind of cult?
She was in I just looked it up because I didn't want to be incorrect, but she was in like a traveling cult called
Okay.
I don't know, MRA, and then she was in Up with People, like the singing group that traveled. And so we're dealing with talent mixed with trauma.
Okay.
Like,
Honestly, you answered my question. A singing cult. From a singing cult to Hollywood, Glenn Close eats baby carrots by the dozens, and it all makes sense.
And it shouldn't be a surprise.
Glenn, who used to be known as Flower. Yeah, like
that she also runs an organization for people suffering from bipolar. So, like, all right. Glenn Close does it all.
And the first 2 seasons of Damages, if you haven't watched it.
Yes. Part of the appeal. Yeah.
Watch Fatal Attraction. I'm sorry, every homosexual will be angry at me, but Cher didn't deserve that Oscar. Glenn Close did. I'm just saying.
Wow.
For Moonstruck.
She won for Moonstruck, but Glenn Close that was Glenn Close's Oscar. I'm sorry.
I think that is an interesting thing to say out loud.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I do so this is a big fight I have. I'm on a chain of 15 homosexual men, and me and Miss Goning.
It sounds like my nightmare, but continue.
We went to see Katy Perry 2 years ago, and it's gotten out of hand. And a fight we keep having. It is not Glenn versus Cher. It's Glenn versus Olivia Colman.
Oh, and that's an interesting fight.
And in that, all of them are on Glenn's side, and I am not. And my reasoning here is that.
You mean she should have won the Oscar over Olivia Colman for The Favorite,
I think
right?
Olivia deserved that Oscar. All of my friends think that Glenn should have gotten that Oscar. And
I agree.
I think that there's a difference between whether the performance deserved an Oscar and whether someone should get a lifetime Oscar. Glenn Close deserves an Oscar at some point. Yes. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And don't get me started about how they played in Angela Bassett's face recently.
Yes.
But I'm not going to accept a world where Glenn Close's Oscar is for a role where she does not speak for most of the movie.
Yeah.
I did this rant on another podcast years ago. It still makes me angry. She is a fierce little pussycat cut in that movie. But she ain't talking.
No, it was the wife, right? It was for the wife.
On the wife, she is beholden for 100 minutes.
Yes.
And she speaks for 10.
I would agree. I've always thought that Academy that year, because it was the year that it was between Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, Glenn Close for The Wife, and Olivia Colman for The Favorite. And I've always thought that Glenn and Lady Gaga sort of canceled each other out, and that's how Olivia got in there and won. But I also think Olivia kind of deserved it.
I think Olivia definitely deserved it. I think it's I'm a hard judge on best acting versus most acting. I think people confuse that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Olivia Colman walks that line beautifully. Also, I really love her.
I love her.
But if you're talking, there are these women who made these roles that inspired us, inspired gay men, inspired Black girls who didn't really see themselves but saw someone.
Who are some for you? Who are some of those performances? What are some of those performances?
I mean, if we're talking about Glenn Close, it's Cruella de Vil. Let's be real. There are certain you can't step away from that. It's death becomes her. I'm not an original person by saying that. If I see Meryl Streep, I'll cry.
Yeah,
but it's Meryl's performance of the speech at Nicole Kidman's AFI last night made me cry.
Yes.
Say that again. Meryl's what?
Meryl Streep's presentation at Nicole Kidman's AFI Lifetime Achievement Award Gala, a video that is not out, but I do have a rip of it.
Oh wow!
Yes. Well, it was on social media last night. Yeah, I was also watching that same video last night, Riri, and I was blown away.
What is it? Tell me. I'm gonna watch it. I'll find it. But what is it?
Yeah, it's on Facebook. I think that there's something about being humans that feel a lot, and that and that often is folk who live in spaces or are marginalized in spaces where they don't feel like they can be their whole selves. And there is something about seeing divas get to be themselves on screen that makes you feel seen. My mom, very logical, crazy person. I love her so much, but it took her 30 years to ask me what my obsession with Meryl Streep is.
Oh.
And I wasn't expecting it. I don't know what we were going to go see, but she was just can you tell me why? She finally asked. And this is after me watching The Hours every year at Christmas. And I said it's like I'm watching. I was like, thank you for the question. No one's really asked me before. As you're watching someone be great.
Yeah.
Like, to the point that like even talking about this, yes, it's partially my hangover, but also just the idea of like that type of potency makes my body gasp.
Wait, Riri, I have to go through 3 things with you that as a Meryl Streep fan from Streep to Streep.
Yeah.
First off, every single person, we don't have to discuss it, but they should know it, and I know you know it, should watch her Golden Globes Lifetime Award speech that was right after Trump got elected. And it's probably the best acceptance speech you will ever hear from any. And she had a sore throat.
She had laryngitis.
Beautiful.
Carrie Fisher just passed away.
Beautiful.
Obviously, she was in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
Mel Gibson is in the audience pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, because she should probably have a screenwriting Oscar for writing that speech in Kramer versus Kramer, the bitch can write a speech.
Yes, fully with that. Oh my God. But the 2 things that I need to know from you.
Yes.
One is another queer, amazing woman, Sarah Paulson. I did an interview with her once, and we spent our allotted time together. We had to extend our time because we spent most of our time fangirling out over Postcards from the Edge, starring Meryl Streep.
Well, yes.
And so I need to know your thoughts on that. And controversially, same year, She-Devil.
Oh, buddy. Okay. She-Devil, I think we always have to remember the girl is from Jersey.
Yeah.
She's from Jersey. And sometimes your kids have tuition and you want a tee-hee. And no tee-hee. Okay? Like, it's like, I can't even describe it, but it's like, imagine Roseanne and Meryl meeting. Like, what was that?
Wait a minute. Are you saying it's a bad movie?
Is it a bad movie? I think it's a movie that exists.
But it's thought of as like silly, like she's kind of like throwing her hair back.
Yeah, it's like she's like, I shook out the blonde hair. Like having
it's campy. It's campy on a level.
And it's like it's an interesting. I mean, also like that period of her choices were varied.
Yes, because she had never really done a comedy before that, so she wanted to do a comedy.
You know, and she's a very funny lady.
And where?
And then for Postcards from the Edge, which it was Shirley MacLaine's birthday a couple days ago, so of course I watched her rendition of "I'm Still Here," and just was like, yes, bitch, in bed. You know, like no bra on, like yes, keep that leg up. There's a moment during that performance where the lyric is, "I made it through all of last year,"
and then
there's a close, and she touches Meryl's face, and there's a quiver on Meryl's face. The girls aren't doing it like that anymore.
Nope, they don't do movies like that at all.
Excuse me, they're not doing it. It's so good. I mean, and also I think it's really. I still am a huge fan of Carrie Fisher. I think, speaking of a writer who put the quiver on the page, I think she's a really funny person. And so it is a tough thing, I would imagine, to be playing your homie and through her relationship with her mom.
Yeah.
Who's
Debbie Reynolds.
Crazy.
Debbie Reynolds?
Yes.
That's not, anyone I think who has a little bit of empathy in their life, I think that would be a toughie. But she's having a good time, and is it Dennis Quaid? He's looking fine.
Dennis Quaid is good in that movie.
I want to say like one of Annette Bening's first roles, and
it was one. Well, actually, one of her first roles is the John Candy film, The Great Outdoors. But yes, that came after.
You're right.
Yeah, and I talked to Annette Bening about The Great Outdoors, and she gave me so much interesting things. She was like, "It was fun. John Candy was fun, but I had to wake up at 4 a.m."
Wow.
It was.
Talk about a lady. It's just. I think it's. I don't know. A friend of mine, Louis Vertel, was talking recently about like stand-up on different podcasts, and he was saying that like the bigger a fan you are of someone, the more you should be able to look at like their body of work with an analytical eye. And so for me, I'm not turning She-Devil on, but I do think that. And like, I do think it's really fun that like she obviously like got really into protein to do River Wild. Like,
oh my god, River Wild. I mean,
do you ever have these? Oh, sorry.
Yeah?
Do you ever have these moments when like a movie like She-Devil, where you're like, No one, it's not zeitgeisty, it's not in, the ethos at all, but it's still a Meryl Streep movie. It's on her Wikipedia page. How many people rent that movie every year? I would love to know how many people watch She-Devil every year.
I with the exception of maybe 2 movies, I've watched every movie she's ever made. And that took the obsession of someone who was depressed in college and had Mega Video. So I wonder, there are kids who are still doing this, and I think that is the kind of cool thing of we have our Meryls, and I wonder when the difference between her age and some kids now. I'm a huge Julie Andrews fan. I'm so that was closer to what that would have been when I was younger. When I think about some baby, I guess seeing the post and was she made the call. And then he's gonna publish the thing and going on the wiki being oh, this is very cool. These people are really cool. That's how you get kids like the 4 of us who just keep naming things at each other and then scream.
Yeah. Well, but also too, social media plays a massive part in a film like She-Devil, in that like I posted a fully random clip from She-Devil of her just at the washing machine. It was literally a 10-second clip of Meryl Streep at the washing machine, and it is so iconic because it's one of the things that I think about from that film all the time when she breaks her nail, and it's something that I quote with friends, and it's a thing, but it's so, the minutia of it is what we obsess on then, and it creates this life outside of just it being a credit in her list of films. It becomes a part of your personality in a friend group in a weird way. You know what I mean?
I also think that we're, for better or for worse, are so oversaturated, right? When you think about the number of channels we had growing up and the number of movies being released per week, double it, triple it, right? So to be reminded of the shit that made us go, girl, is what we all want. There's a nostalgia to these clip packages and to, I'm very much an old lady in that I only got on TikTok 3 months ago because I started watching Love is Blind this season, and so I had to see what people were talking about. And it's funny what will come into your algorithm to remind you of what you've seen and to remind you of these moments you had. And I totally forgot how much I loved Amanda Seyfried in The Dropout, and I rewatched it. But that just randomly appeared to me. And it's kind of why I still have cable, because I love to pay too much money for something, but also I want to be able to turn on the TV and not choose what culture or what content I'm bringing towards me. Just come find me, and I'm gonna watch The American President and do my laundry.
A little variety, a little surprise, a little something unexpected.
Exactly.
You have to do a little bit of work. I mean, the guys have heard me talk about this. It's not Meryl Streep, but I was on a flight, kind of pouring through the channels, and I fell upon something called Customer Wars, and now I am in deep with all things wars. It's just neighborhood wars, customer wars, car wars, road wars. It's not Meryl Streep. It's people fighting on closed captioned circuit
but
TV.
They're the Meryl Streep of their communities. That's what they are. They are.
I mean, look, some people really rocking and rolling through Dubuque who are be the most awarded community theater actor at the Alvin Ailey, but no black people theater.
Right.
People who want to tap dance, and you're yes, Gladys. That's where Gladys is actually.
Yes. Good call back.
Well, Riri, this has been so fantastic chatting with you. I am immediately going to DM you. We've never met before, but now I know I'm going to be messaging you every single day talking about Meryl Streep and every other woman that I interview or desperately asked to interview. But where can people obsessively DM you like I'm about to?
Oh, I'm really on the Instagram because I'm that millennial at Rheeqrheeq, and you'll just see what a fabulous life is of not leaving bed and watching old you.
Yes.
Watching a lot of Meryl Streep movies. Thanks so much, Riri.
Thanks, Riri.
You guys. Have a good
And another thing.
There was a piece in a publication I read. Yes, Brent, a publication called Byline. It's an online magazine. Love their design. Love their pieces. I love the style. Anyway, so they had a piece called "The Gay Art of Walking Fast" by a writer named Michael Sun. And I just thought it was a very, fun read. He says things like, it's a time-honored truth that gay men walk fast, propelled by impatience, fear, or general neuroticism. Among my many unpleasant practices is my pathological need to win the sidewalk. On the sidewalk, everyone is an opponent, especially when 50 minutes is approaching, like a semi about to T-bone you into oblivion. Very literate, very, very, very floral in the language, but it was fun. It was very funny, and I thought
what's that 50 minutes reference? When 50 minutes is approaching like a semi ready to T-bone you, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Maybe you should think about it and figure it out, because I certainly know. I'm just not going to tell you.
I don't know what it means. I
don't know.
Oh,
okay.
No.
I have no idea. Instinctively, I was like, well, it must be a sexual thing if Elliot knows and I don't. Well, then.
No. I think it might be more contextual, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe like a parking meter or something.
This is definitely a gay thing. Obviously, I've noticed. I actually would say I'm not a super fast walker. I think I'm average. Because I do notice when I get passed vigorously by someone on the sidewalk, and weirdly I get a little annoyed about it. I get competitive. But sometimes you just don't want to walk. You don't want to like speed walk. You're on your way to the gym. So you're like, I'm just going to walk regular.
If there's one thing that Michael and I've gotten in more fights about, it's fast walking.
Wow.
I am not a fast walker. I'm not a slow walker, I don't think, but I'm not a fast walker. And the fight stems from who is right. Should the person who is slower try to catch up with the person who is faster, or should the person who is faster try to maintain the pace of the person who is slower?
That's easier. You have to do faster slows down for the slower.
Yes, because I always counter by being like, I'm not going to be a sweaty mess just trying to catch up with someone. But also, too, it is possible to maintain the speed of others, because we do it when we're in groups of people.
Yeah.
We do it when we're with others. So when it's just us, why am I sweating?
You know what's oh, sorry.
It's just so but I also am like, I've never been the one. And I would love to know Elliot's take on this, because Elliot, as we've talked about many, many times, is somewhat of an aggressive driver.
Yes.
And
defensive,
so
defensive.
Oh, no.
or aggressive.
Offensive driver.
Yeah. But I find that sometimes, because I never had this even in New York, this sort of obsession with beating people or beating a crowd that is walking at a certain pace or anything like that. I'm just like, I'll get there when I get there. I'm not worried about this. Elliot, are you a fast walker, and do you get angry when others around you are not maintaining the speed that you think they should?
Well, I know the answer to that. Yes.
I'm not like there's like gay fast walking, which is like iced coffee in hand, bag, and you just go.
Right.
That's not fully me. I'm not like at top speed, but I am a pretty brisk walker. And I have felt shame when I'm on the other end of things and I'm being the one having to keep up with whomever. Usually my sister, but yeah, I'm a pretty fast walker, and I do get very annoyed when, again, it's not about somebody going slow. It's if they're lackadaisical, like with driving, and they're not thinking about the rest of the sidewalk, and they're just willy-nilly. You're getting stuck behind them willy-nilly.
Get that.
But I would argue that's not a part of the fast, slow walking situation, and that like being lackadaisical is not slow walking. It's being obstructive and inconsiderate to other people around you, because you're taking up space and all of the things. Whereas just walking at the speed that physically you are meant to be walking at, that is comfortable for you, I don't think necessarily needs to be shamed. But
nor me either.
I find homosexuals love to shame
a
slow walker.
I don't think that's worth. Yes, I agree, but I don't think the person needs to be shamed if they're walking at their regular pace. It's just a matter of being like, well, I'm going to walk at my pace and move to the right so that people can pass and this and that. Like just following common etiquette, you know, and just being considerate of your space.
Yeah.
I always say, especially when I'm dressed as Sadie, that because I mean, if you think I walk slow as me, just imagine how slow I walk as Sadie. And whenever people are moving around me and they're maybe moving a little bit faster, I always yell to them, trust me, it's going to be more fun entering with me than it is just by you. Like it's you're going to get more attention if you enter with me. So you might as well wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I went on a date with a guy who wouldn't walk in my pace, and I was conscious of it. He was like a human's length behind me at all times. So I was turning my head backwards to talk to him. And so I slowed.
Wait, he was slower.
Yes, much slower. So I slowed down because I'm like, all right, well, let me be respectful of. And then he slowed down more.
Oh,
and I was like, it literally by the end of the day.
Was it a passive aggressive thing?
I don't know. By the end, I was like, I can't get you at the same like speed as me. I literally can't do it. We didn't hang. We didn't hang out again.
Not surprising.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Thanks.
What a dick thing to do.
I know.
What made it even harder was that he didn't speak English.
What would your aunt say?
Brent, what would your aunt say about something she heard on today's show?
I am very pro-bullying.
so loud.
Oh, well, all right.
I love it. My Aunt Joanne would say, Brent, get yourself some matzah chicken ball. Wait, I'm going to do it again. Brent, get yourself some chicken ball. Some chicken matzo ball. Okay, then I'll just say it as me. Brent, you need to get yourself some chicken matzo ball soup ASAP.
Sounds good. I think NyQuil will do it for now, but thank you.
Yeah. Tomorrow you need Langers.
And Joanne.
How about Aunt Anne?
Aunt Anne would say, I don't have time to worry about people keeping in my pace. I'm too blessed to be stressed.
Oh, I love that. Love
she walks in the light of Jesus.
She walks in the light of Jesus. Come to me, Lord.
Oh, right.
Thanks for listening,
thanks, y'all.
folks.
Watch us on YouTube.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.